What is up, everybody? This is S Trades, and this is episode 3 of the Bootcamp. And in this video, we're going to be going over candlesticks, candlestick charts, candlestick patterns, all of that sorts of good stuff, and just kind of help you visualize how the price action moves, where price is going, how does it actually react to certain stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So this is what you're looking at. This is probably how your chart will look like the first time you launch any trading chart. It'll be all having these red and green candles. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that you do not want to keep these colors. Now, this is kind of the standard for all the charts. You know, red candles going down, green candles going up. But you do not want to keep it that way. Instead, you want to have something like more of a dull colors that aren't really throwing the colors right at you and kind of making you more emotional. In a sense, you might not understand that now, but just taking a look at a quick difference between these two charts, this chart for me at least is a lot more pleasing, because once you start actually trading and once you start being in trades that go against you, for example, let's say you enter a long right here, right? Let's just say you enter a long meaning that the price is going to go up, right? And then you just start seeing these big red candles. You're emotionally already going to be somewhat more affected by it, rather compared to looking at this. Obviously you're still going to be down on the day, you're still going to be down on the trade, and you're going to be emotional, but just the difference, right? This is so bright, and this is really affecting your psychology and emotions. So first thing you want to do is kind of change your colors around, play around with it, and see kind of what you like. What for me, these are the colors that I really came up with. This is what I really like, this is what I enjoy. Whenever I look at these white candles that are going down, I don't really have that crazy emotions compared to if I looked at these big red candles, you know. So that's the first part. But just for the sake of this video, we'll stick to this chart, just the red and green candles, because that's kind of the standard. Because some people might get confused if they see white and blue candles, and then they might get confused or whatever, because some people might have blue candles as going down. So I don't want to have that confusion. So let's kind of just stick to this chart just for now. So this is one candlestick in a sense. So this on the left side is what we call a bullish candlestick, and this on the right is what we call a bearish candlestick. Now, the colors doesn't really determine if it's bullish or bearish, which it kind of does, but what really determines is the closing and the opening price, right? So again, if I just take a quick look at the chart, right? So we see these candles, right? They have these wicks and they have this full body, right? Some candles have wicks on both sides, some just have it on one side, like here for example, right? And we're going to be going all over that, okay? So what do the body and wicks tell you? Okay, so the wicks kind of tell you the story of where price went, and the body tells you what the price closed and open, okay? That's as simple as it gets, okay? So if we just take a quick look at this chart, this is bullish candlestick, right? Price opens up at the bottom of the body, the body is in the middle, the top and the bottom. The bullish candlestick, which is the green one, it opens at the bottom, meaning the price opens up over here, right? So as price opens up over here, again, the wicks tell you the story. The wicks tell you where the price went, okay? So in this case, price went all the way down here, which is this lower wick. People also call it shadows, but I don't really call that. Just wicks is kind of simpler for me. So in this case, price went all the way over here, created this wick. Now we went all the way back up, all the way to this higher wick, and then the price ended up closing at over here, okay? So now this is kind of what this candlestick told you the story of, okay? We opened up lower, we went down here, and then we went all the way back up here, and then price ended up closing over here, okay? Same thing in this bearish case, okay? Now, the only difference is the opening and the closing price. So in this case, the bearish candle, also known as the red candle, it opens at the top, right? At the top of the body, and it closes at the body. So same exact scenario. The bearish candlestick opens at the top, it goes all the way up here, right? Tells you the story how price went up here, then went all the way back down over here, creating this wick, and then it ended up going back up, closing price over here, okay? So this is as simple as it gets. You don't need to complicate it any further, okay? This is how candlesticks work, okay? They open up and they close, and then the wicks tell you the story, okay? Now, looking at this chart, okay? This is TradingView. Probably everyone knows it by now. So in TradingView, you have in any other platform, you have these time frames, okay? So what do these time frames represent, okay? So right now, let's go on a daily, okay? So this is a daily time frame, meaning every single one of these candlesticks represents 1 day full of price action, okay? So this green candle is 1 day. This red candle has 1 day of price action, and so on. You kind of get the point of it, okay? So all of these candles represents 1 day. Now, if you go lower to a 4-hour, let's say, now all of these individual candles represents 4 hours worth of price action. Now we go down to an hourly, Now all of these candles are just 1 hour, and so on. You could go down to minutes, right? And you go to 30 minutes, and all of these candles are 30 minutes worth of each. And go to 5 minutes, so on and so forth. There's minutes, so like 1 minute each as well. So all of these candles just represent 1 minute at a point. So for example, if you look at it over here, all of these candles are just 1 minute candles, okay? Like this candlestick right here opened up over here, right? Went down lower over here, then went boom all the way higher over here, leaving both of these wicks on both sides, and ended up closing over here. Now this was in a matter of 1 minute. This was at 4:33, then this was 4:34, 4:35, and you get the gist. So all of these candles open up and close in 1 minute of each, okay? And then there's also, here you go on a weekly. These are all candlesticks worth of week price action. There's monthly, even yearly, and there's also even seconds. Now, again, just for a better visualization for you guys, okay, as we said, bullish candles open up at the bottom and close at the top. Okay, so now how does this actually look like, just in terms of, because lines are sometimes easier to understand, so just for visualization purposes, this left side of these lines, it might look complicated, but trust me, it really isn't. So this green candle represents these lines over here, okay? So how does this all look like on a chart, right? So we opened up, which is over here, right? We opened up at this certain price, right? This wick went all the way down here, which is boom, went down here to this low, and then this body over here is this whole visualization purpose, okay? So we went all the way back up to the highs, which left this high wick, and then we ended up going a little lower, closing at this price. So this is kind of how the lines really move, and this is what's called open, low, high, close. We'll get to that later on during further episodes. And this is a bearish scenario. We open up over here, right at the top of the body. We go all the way up to the top, right to this high, and then boom, we go all the way back down, leaving this wick and leaving that wick, and then going a little bit higher to just close at this price. Okay, this is, again, now in this case it's open, high, low, close. Just again, don't worry about what it means for now, but we'll go into it later and during the more episodes. Now, what you need to know is the power of the candles, right? There's different sorts of candles, right? Let me just go back on this. Now, just quickly taking a look at this chart again, okay? We could see that there's different sorts of candles. There's different sizes. There's different wicks, right? So now let's just take a quick look, okay? So we see these big body candles, and then there's like a very, very tiny body candle, and then there's a lot of wicks in here, and then boom, we get, again, bigger bodies compared to the width. So what does all of that mean, okay? So this simply just means the power of the candle, like how bullish or bearish it was at a certain time, okay? Now, these are legit the only candlestick patterns that you need to learn. Whoever told you that you guys need to know all these different candlestick patterns is lying to you. You do not need to know all the candlestick patterns and their names and whatever it is. This is literally all you need to know about candlesticks, okay? So what does this mean when the candle is full, that just has one, like, entire body without any wicks? So in this case, on top of the green candles, if the candle is literally just straight up the body, green body without any wicks, then it's very, very bullish, okay? Now, what does this second candlestick mean, right? We have this wick all the way at the bottom, but then we have the body closed all the way at the top without any kind of wick, right? This is also representing a very, very bullish sign that pretty much it means that price went all the way down here, like it reached to the lowest, right? And then price ended up also closing all the way at the top, meaning the buyers had more power at this time, and they ended up closing the price all the way at the top. Now, this is kind of what you would have as your normal bullish candle, right? Like this still really is bullish. Like the wicks doesn't make it less bullish, right? But these two are just like very, very, like, just very bullish signs, okay? But this is kind of how your regular bullish candle would look like, right? You would open at the bottom, go a little lower, make a little wick, and then we go up all the way over here, make the higher wick, and then we close at the top. It's still very bullish, right? Now, when the candle has a very small body in the middle and it has longer wicks on both sides, now that might indicate like a neutral kind of side, right? Neutral candle. We kind of opened up all the way over here, we went down over here, right, and then we went all the way back up again and closed at the top over here, and the body was very small, and then we had a lot of wicks. Kind of does an indecision between buyers and sellers kind of thing, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, if you see this candle, let's say, like, you don't know what to do. No. And then this case, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the least bullish, but if you're looking for prices to go up, you necessarily do not kind of want to see this kind of candle, right? Because what it means is that we opened up all the way at the bottom, at the bottom over here, right? We went up all the way to the top, which might have looked, this candle right here, right, at some point looked like this candle, okay? We opened up at the bottom over here, like these two candles, right? Now we went up all the way here, just like this candle did, and this candle ended up closing, okay? Which is why you always want to wait until candles close. You never want to pre-fire, or like you never want to enter trades early just because you think the candle is going to continue, because the candle closing is a very important thing in trading, okay? In this case, this candle closed all the way at the top over here without giving you any kinds of wicks, which is a very bullish scenario, okay? In this case, this is kind of how this candle looked like at some point. It went all the way over here with the body, right? And then the price didn't end up closing at the top just like this candle did. Instead, it closed all the way down here, right? Now, what this means is that buyers pushed the price all the way up here, right? They were able to do that. And the reason why it's not as bullish is because they weren't able to close the price up over there. Instead, sellers pushed it all the way down over here, and then we ended up closing the candle looking like this, right? And again, this is the same scenario. I'm not going to go all the way over for these, but just a quick rundown. Bearish candles, red candles, right? We open up at the top, go all the way at the bottom, leaving no wicks again. Again, showing a very bearish sign. This candle, same exact way, because bearish candles go down, right? Now we flipped kind of around, right? So in this case, price opened up at the top over here. Now buyers were able to push the price all the way over here, right? Now this might kind of look like this candle at some point, but sellers again pushed it all the way back down, closing the price over here, which is showing again very bearish sign. This is kind of how your regular bearish candle would look like, and this is again same as this scenario. It's a it's like kind of like a neutral position for bearish or bullish, and this again would show a sign of not so bearish candle, okay? We opened up at the top, leaving no wick at the top, going all the way lower again, making the candle look like just like this at some point, okay? Now the candle didn't close yet, right? The candle, boom, ended up going up all the way again and closing at the top. Again, this candle looked like this candle at some point, and instead we didn't close like this candle did at the bottom, this indicating a very bearish sign. This candle ended up closing at the top, kind of showing a very weak bearish sign. Okay, now taking a quick look at this chart, right? This again, we are on a daily time frame, meaning all of these candles represent the full day of price action, okay? Now, let me just mark something out real quick for you guys, okay? Just so you guys could see how these candles actually work, okay? So this is the candle high, right? This is where the highest price of the candle went, and this is the lower side of the candle, okay? Now, if you go on to the lower time frames, right, we have these things marked, and it's going to stay here as we go lower. So if you go on a 4-hour time frame, right, what the lines stay here. Now, what do these candles represent? This just means it's the same exact candle as this one, right? But now we're going lower to kind of see inside of the candle, like what happened at this daily candle over here. Like this looks very bullish to me, okay? This looks very bullish to me. Now, yeah, we just kind of want to see how do these candles inside of it, like what was the story inside of this daily candle, okay? If we go to the 4-hour now, so now we have all of these candles representing what happened inside of this daily candle, right? Now, if you go even further, let's say to the hourly, right? This is kind of how it looks like. See, now we're starting to see some red candles in here, okay? Now, this is kind of, just, again, the story of what's happening inside of a daily candle, right? This is the daily candle high, this is the daily candle's low, and this is the daily candle's high, right? Again, let's go even deeper. Let's go on, for example, a 15-minute, right? Again, these are all 15-minute candles, right? Just again, showing you what's happening inside of this daily candle, right? Now, it is easy to say like, okay, this daily candle is bullish, so just buy, right? But if you go a little lower on a lower time frame, let's say the 15-minute, right? You have a lot of red candles, you have green candles, you have all the candles that we mentioned, right? So this is just kind of how the candles look like, right? How you can switch between time frames, and what this kind of shows you is that time is fractal, meaning like you could do kind of similar stuff on all the time frames, okay? So it doesn't mean that the 1 hourly is different from a daily. No, it's still telling you the same story, just you're kind of getting into details, like you're getting inside of the candle, kind of looking at what exactly happened on a smaller time frame to create that big daily candle, you know what I mean? So we're on 15-minute chart right now. Let me now chart this candle out for you guys real quick, right? Just again, to understand, this is the candle high, this is the candle low, right? For this 15-minute. Now, if you go on a 5-minute, you're gonna see 3 5-minute candles within these within this range, right? Because 3 5 minutes make up a 15-minute, right? So now, boom, the 15-minute candle that we saw previously is made up out of these 5-minute candles, right? And if you keep on going lower, so if you go on a 1 minute, you're gonna see 15 candles worth of price action between these two lines, right? So boom, we have 15 candles between this range, right? So this is kind of what happened. If you go into very details, if you go into very small time frames to kind of see what happened on that chart, right? The only candlesticks that you guys really need to understand is these right here, right? This is the only thing that you need. We're not pattern trading any candlesticks, because I know there's a bunch of other candlestick patterns and names for all of them. You do not need to know that. You don't need, because what the way I trade is not just according to the candlestick pattern, because at the end of the day, this is just candles. It's kind of telling you a story, and it's not like 100% guaranteed of whatever you're gonna see is gonna happen. Okay. From what I said earlier, I just kind of want to show you guys real time on the charts. Okay. So now, what do these big body candles represent? They represent power for the one side, right? So right here, what we had this candle that had a lower wick, right? And then boom, we close at the top, leaving a very small wick and a big body, right? So this is very bullish. Again, this is a regular candle, bullish, right? Now here, like I said, remember, like I mentioned earlier over here, neutral candles, right? So now we reached this high, right? We had 1 and 2. We had 2 undecisive candles, right? We had just very small body, and wicks on both ends, right? So this is kind of like an undecision, right? And again, this is a bullish sign, right? You could see this is why you can't chart, like you can't look at these candlesticks as a pattern, because this right here, this is a red candle, right? Going all the way lower over here, and then going boom all the way back up over here. This kind of showing you a bullish scenario, right? But again, we can't trade it like a pattern. So this is why you can't just look at a candlestick like, well, we had this engulfing or this freaking doji or whatever, and then boom, we're gonna just enter. No, you can't do that, right? Because look, the next candle, big body, right? Small wicks, big body, small wicks, big body, small wicks. Okay, so this is very, very bearish, right? Next candle opens up, boom, big Drake candle, right? Big body, small wicks, boom. Now again, right here, look, you see, we opened up for a green candle, right? We had a very, very low wick, right? Opened up over here, went all the way up, all the way high over here, and then closed green, right? This you could be like, oh, that's it, we're gonna reverse, just enter longs, right? No. The next candle, what happened? We went up all the way over here. People were probably thinking that, okay, we're gonna go high now, but no. We just made a wick, and then boom, big body all the way to the lower side, closing down below here, and then we're continuing this downtrend, right? This you could call like an engulfing candle, right? This is another candlestick pattern that we have, right? But we don't really need to know that, okay? What this pretty much means that this candle engulfed both of these candles. You do not need to know that, because we're not trading patterns, okay? We're not trading candlestick patterns, but this is a very good a sign of a bullish candle, because we have a big body, right? Smaller wicks, and then boom, we're just following this trend. We're in a bullish trend, big body, small wicks, big body, small wicks. And then what happens then? Again, we start to the buying pressure, the buyers will start to get a little weaker here. We have now lots of undecisive candles, right? We have a doji right here, another doji right here. Again, you do not need to know these names. They could be called whatever. They could be a morning star, shooting star, whatever it's called. You know, there's different names for it. You do not need to know that. You know, it's just a name at the end of the day. But the only thing that you know is looking at the structure of the candle and how it opened, how it closed. Okay. In this case, we have all these 3 or 4 candles that have very, very, very small bodies, wicks on both ends, and then what happens then? The buyers get weak, and then the sellers end up stepping in. We have a big candle right here with a big body, small wicks. Again, big body, small wicks, and the same exact scenario happens here. We retrace a little bit, right? Because we were here, we were in a bullish trend. And again, don't worry about the trends yet. This is going to be the next video talking about trends in the market, right? But right here, we're in a bullish market right here, right? In a bullish market, we retrace a little over here, right? And then now what do we have now? We have, again, signs of a reversal, right? We have this lower wick, right? We opened up price over here. Some people might have thought that, okay, this was a red candle at some point. We went all the way down here creating this wick. People were thinking, okay, we might just continue on. No, you have to wait until the candle closes, because what happens is this red candle at some point ended up turning green, because we ended up closing all the way at the top over here, leaving this whole entire wick. What happens then? We're seeing all these candles kind of follow up with it, and then boom, big bodies, small wicks, big bodies, small. We have all these green candles, big bodies, small wicks, right? Now, just to prove to you guys that why I'm telling you to not follow these like candlestick patterns, because they really they work to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, it's just a pattern, okay? You can't really just follow what these candlestick patterns tell you, because at the end of the day, you have to have a certain strategy and everything else to combine with it to be able to be profitable, okay? So now there's so many like candlestick patterns. We have all of these candles, we have all of these. There's so many candlestick patterns that you do not need to know, because they are not guaranteed to always work, okay? Like you guys can see, there's so many candlestick patterns, okay? For example, I want to show you guys an engulfing candle pattern, right? So what an engulfing candle pattern shows you, right, is that if a candle ends up engulfing, like closing above previous candles, then it's like a good sign for whatever way you're trying to trade in. So in this example, let's say right here, we have these three small candles, right? Three small candles, but they all look pretty bearish to me because they're all indicating very large wicks to the top and the bodies end up closing at the bottom, right? It's showing you a sign of bearishness, right? But then boom, what happens next? The next candle opens up, engulfing all of these three candles, right? And then what happens? People are like, oh, okay, well now we're gonna go higher because it's a bullish engulfing candle, and just buy, right? What happens then? We get two bullish candles, right? It works. It worked to a certain extent, right? We get two bullish candles, and then what happens then? We just dump. We just continue on dumping, right? So you can't really use those candles patterns as like something that you trade with, because it really will not work for long term. Now it keeps on happening all the time, right? We're kind of moving a little higher, right? We get this little wick at the top, body at the bottom, boom, we dump, right? Again, what do we get next? We get wicks on both ends, and then the next candle we get big bodies. We continue going higher again, and we get continuing on right here. We get a very high wick at the top, body end up closing at the bottom, and boom, we have the next candle open up with a big body, and then continuing on with the trend. Okay, so that is all that you guys need to know. Okay, do not forget, my main point is just please do not follow candlestick patterns. They do not work long term. Okay, the only second point that I mentioned is change your colors, right? Just tell me how this, right, looks any better than what I have, right? Mine looks a lot more cleaner, a lot better. This is very like a lot less stressful and a lot less mentally um, hard for you when you're looking at the charts, right? It's darker. It's, you don't see these big red candles, right? So change your chart colors to whatever you like. I'm gonna wrap up this video. This was Bootcamp episode 3, how to read candlesticks like a pro. And again, what I taught you is all you need to learn about candlesticks. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a good one. See you.